Tonight, no signs of de-escalation in the Middle East and our exclusive interview. Iran accusing the Trump administration of diplomatic betrayal. The new strikes breaking through, hitting a high-rise in Israel. And the new explosion caught on surveillance video. Plus, our exclusive with Iran's foreign minister. The highest-level interview since it all began. Why he said he doesn't trust the U.S. after trying to make a nuclear deal, and what he said about possibly retaliating against America. And this just in, President Trump responding directly to that interview. Andrea Mitchell reporting from Geneva. Record-shattering heat stretching coast to coast, dangerous temperatures and extreme humidity making it sweltering for 139 million Americans from Arizona to Massachusetts. The chilling kidnapping plot targeting the mayor of Memphis, a man arrested with rope, duct tape and a taser after scaling a brick wall outside his home. The deadly rockfall sending giant clouds of dust in the air. The hikers fleeing as the sides of this cliff come crashing down. What happened at the national park millions visit every year? Karen Reed was found not guilty of murder. Now we're hearing from the jurors who decided her fate. The key piece of evidence about a taillight that helped change minds in the jurors' box. Love and poison, the couple plotting to kill several women with cyanide, even breaking into their cars to lace their water with a deadly mixture. Home prices approaching all-time highs, why the suburbs are turning into rental meccas. The massive volcano on Kilauea erupting again, firing lava more than 1,000 feet into the air. The new images. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. President Trump tonight responding directly to our exclusive interview you're about to see as he considers whether to strike Iran. Israel and Iran still battling it out, from missiles blasting this building in Haifa in the north to this surveillance video capturing an explosion down south. And while world leaders are in Europe trying to find a way out of a spiraling regional war in the Middle East, we are hearing straight from the Iranian foreign minister himself in an exclusive interview with NBC News. He says Iran doesn't trust the U.S. and accuses the Trump administration of pretending to want to negotiate while Israel launched an assault. And we'll hear about what he said, whether Iran could retaliate against this country. Andrea has our global exclusive tonight and leads us off.
Tonight, the news strikes, a surveillance camera capturing an Iranian missile hitting a residential building in Israel. And this Iranian strike hitting the northern Israeli city of Haifa, while Israel striking missile launchers in Iran. Today, in an exclusive interview, Iran's foreign minister calling on President Trump to demand Israel stop its attacks.
What it needs is only a telephone call from Washington to Tel Aviv to stop everything.
Tonight, President Trump responding, saying Israel is winning.
I think it's very hard to make that request right now. If somebody's winning, it's a little bit harder to do than if somebody's losing. But we're ready, willing, and able, and we've been speaking to Iran, and we'll see what happens.
All of it as President Trump again met in the Situation Room as he decides whether to launch a U.S. airstrike on the underground Iranian Fordo nuclear facility. Only the U.S. has the bunker buster bombs capable of destroying it.
Within a matter of weeks, or certainly within a matter of months, they're going to be able to have a nuclear weapon. We can't let that happen.
He said he'll wait up to 2 weeks to give diplomacy a chance.
Just a time to see whether or not people come to their senses.
Tonight, Iran's foreign minister tells us they won't resume talking to the U.S. until Israel stops attacking them.
Can diplomacy produce a solution in 2 weeks?
Well, I think it's up to Americans, the United States, I mean, to show their determination for going for a negotiated solution. We have come to the conclusion that negotiations by the U.S. was in fact a cover for what Israelis did. So they had perhaps this plan in their mind, and they just needed negotiations, perhaps, to cover it up. we don't know how we can trust them anymore. What they did was, in fact, a betrayal to diplomacy.
While Iran vowing to respond to any U.S. strike.
Would Iran retaliate against U.S. targets and U.S. forces in the region or elsewhere?
Well, when there is a war, both sides attack each other. That's quite understandable. And self-defense is a legitimate right of every country.
President Trump again rebuking his Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who said Iran has an unprecedented amount of enriched uranium for a state without nuclear weapons, but that Iran's supreme leader has not yet authorized the nuclear weapons program.
My intelligence community is wrong. She's wrong.
Tonight, Gabbard says her previous comments were taken out of context, while Iran's foreign minister told me Iran's nuclear knowledge cannot be destroyed by bombs. Tom.
Andrea Mitchell with that big exclusive tonight. Andrea, we thank you. Back here at home to the record heat stretching from the desert of Arizona to the coast of Massachusetts. Across the West, look at this. Crews are trying to stamp out wildfires like this one in Utah. I do want to bring in Bill Cairns. And Bill, you rarely see so much of the country facing so much heat at the same time.
Yeah, from the Rockies to the East Coast, Tom, we are all in this together. Today it has been brutally hot in many areas of the Midwest. Some areas in Nebraska approaching 108 degrees. With all the dots and all the cities on here, over 100 are going to challenge record highs over the next couple of days. Now, we're expecting the worst of it tomorrow. This is in the shade, adding in the temperature and the humidity. This is the heat index. 108 in Omaha, 106 Minneapolis, Chicago 104. Then as we go through Sunday and Monday into Tuesday, we watch the heat building to the east. Detroit 104 on Sunday. Look at northern Vermont on Monday, feeling like 106. And from D.C. to New York, Philly to Raleigh to Richmond, Tom, the worst of this will be Monday and Tuesday.
It's a hot one. All right, Bill, we thank you for that. We want to head to Canada now, where horrifying new video shows the moment where a part of a rock wall gave way, triggering a deadly slide, trapping hikers below. Our Morgan Chesky has the terrifying details.
In Canada, a frightening rumble turning into a deadly roar. A lone hiker seen scrambling for their life, chased by a rock slide, unleashing a terrifying cascade of boulders and debris.
I got up and just started running.
Ellie Jackson says the wall came down with so much force it just exploded.
I thought I was going to die, because when I saw the rock coming down, I knew I couldn't survive that.
Caught in its path, members of a local hiking group, with multiple members caught in the slide, enveloped by a massive dust cloud. The fatal slide happening at Banff National Park, Canada's most popular. The hike near Bow Glacier Falls, a well-traveled area near Lake Louise. Tonight, authorities confirmed rescuers recovered a second body, adding 3 others were airlifted and remain hospitalized. Canadian geologist Dan Sugar says it's not the first time this pristine area has posed a problem.
As of right now, were there any clear warning signs that essentially this hillside would give way?
I don't think that it would be possible to have kind of forecasted or predicted this particular rockfall.
Sharing a smaller slide 2 years ago, injured several when it struck the same area.
Every steep mountain slope, releases rocks from time to time.
Experts believing the slow but steady impact of water and hidden springs may have played a role compromising the rock wall. Sugar believes, based on video and images, this slide was 160 feet wide and up to 30 feet deep. Authorities don't believe anyone else is missing, but say heavy rain tonight could raise the landslide risk even more. Morgan Chesky, NBC News.
Tonight, a juror in Karen Reed's trial is revealing what led her and 11 others to acquit Reed for the murder of her boyfriend. The juror pointing to a critical piece of evidence, the broken pieces of Reed's taillight. Here's Emily Aketa.
Tonight, a window into the deliberation room where Karen Reed's fate was decided.
Not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all?
I do believe she was innocent.
Paula Prado, a trained attorney, was among the 12 jurors who found Reed not guilty of murdering her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, with her car. A key piece of evidence?
Having a close look at the taillight in the deliberation room.
Prado said that damage was inconsistent with video of Reed's red taillight after the alleged crash. The defense suggested it was tampered with. As for her impression of Reed,
at first she gave me a vibe of being too confident. She was very focused on the trial and very alert of everything that was going on. after a while, I admire that.
Reed's parents sitting down with NBC Boston after they say their first restful sleep in years.
We know Karen is our daughter. Had she done something and struck John O'Keefe, we would have been the first to, be notified.
While Reed's acquittal was met by an eruption of cheers from her supporters, Prado left the courtroom in tears.
As much as I'm confident that we did the right thing and she's not guilty, I feel sorry that justice wasn't served to John O'Keefe.
A member of O'Keefe's family calling the verdict heartbreaking, but telling Dateline there's relief in closing this chapter.
A positive is Johnny can be at peace, and the family and friends can grieve.
Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
All right, we're also following a developing story out of Memphis. The mayor there was home with his wife and kids when police say a man walked up to the house angry and armed with a taser. The suspect now faces charges including attempted kidnapping. It's just the latest alarming case threatening the safety of lawmakers. Here's Aaron Gilchrist.
In court today, the man authorities accuse of stalking and attempting to kidnap the mayor of Memphis.
Raise your right hand.
Police say 25-year-old Trenton Abston admitted that he tracked down Mayor Paul Young and went to his home angry and armed with a taser. The mayor lives in a subdivision that is both gated and guarded, but that didn't stop the suspect. Police say he jumped right over this brick wall. Inside with his family, Young says he watched on a doorbell camera as Abston walked straight to our home, knocking on the door with gloves on, a full pocket, and a nervous demeanor. It happened on Sunday, less than 24 hours after a masked man went on a rampage targeting lawmakers in Minnesota. When Memphis police arrested Abston this week, he gave them permission to search his car. They found gloves, rope, duct tape, and a taser. Police say Abston, who is licensed as an armed security guard, stated he planned to confront Paul Young about crime in the city of Memphis. But in court today, his family says he's remorseful.
He wants to talk to the mayor. Hear his heart, and you'll understand.
Across the country, elected officials are seeing a rising threat of political violence.
I'm a little shaken, to be quite honest.
Police arrested a man after Ohio Congressman Max Miller says he was targeted for being Jewish while driving to work.
Thank God my daughter was not in my vehicle.
And in New York, the NYPD says it's investigating a bomb threat and racist messages directed at mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. Some members of Congress calling for more protections.
Public servants and ordinary citizens should not have to fear their lives simply for doing their jobs.
Aaron Gilchrist, NBC News, Memphis.
And tonight in our series Priced Out, a stunning trend for the American suburbs. How Home Sweet Home increasingly comes with a rent payment, not a mortgage. Our Christine Romans explains.
America's suburbs undergoing a transformation.
We're priced out of the market right now, and we're not the only ones.
The dream of owning the house with the white picket fence increasingly giving way to white picket renters. In Lake Villa, Illinois, outside of Chicago, engineer Andrew Decker earns a six-figure salary and only wishes he and his fiancée could buy a home.
You could buy a house tomorrow if the price was right, if the interest rates were where they needed to be.
But mortgage rates are near 7% and home prices at record highs. Since the pandemic, the median single-family home price has soared almost $100,000, now topping $400,000. How is that changing the suburbs?
Well, basically what you see is that renting obviously is a much more economical option than buying. And developers have seen this trend that started in 2021 with COVID, and they've really built a surge of apartments.
According to new analysis of census data, renting in the burbs is surging so much, 203 suburbs across the country are now majority home renter rather than homeowner. In 15 suburbs, the number of renter households more than doubled between 2018 and 2023.
I don't see any end in sight. I really don't. And I foresee it getting worse and worse over the next 5 years.
Renters like Andrew Decker left wondering how they'll ever be able to buy their piece of the American dream. Christine Romans, NBC News.
When we return, did a man and his girlfriend try to poison women he used to date with cyanide? Why one of their victims says she no longer feels safe in her own home. That's next. We are back now with a couple charged with carrying out a wild plot to poison and kill women one of them used to date. Prosecutors say victims' water bottles were spiked with poison, including cyanide. Here's Shaquille Brewster.
A hazmat team in Wisconsin investigating what prosecutors call an extensive poisoning plot. Paul Van Dyne Jr. and his partner Andrea Whitaker used elaborate poisons, including cyanide, to try to murder women Van Dyne had previously been on dates with, according to court documents. Investigators say these vials of hazardous materials were found in his car. One of the alleged victims, a mother of two, speaking out anonymously today during a hearing.
Well over a year ago, I went on just 2 dates with this man. And now my entire life has been turned upside down.
According to court documents, Van Dyne attempted to poison the first victim at least 3 times, beginning on April 26, when he broke into her car, filling her gym water bottle with cyanide and thallium. Then on May 4th, they say he put a toxic and corrosive gas in her trunk.
How close was this to becoming deadly?
Our victim within Rock County got hospitalized. She currently still is in a wheelchair. They had to fly in an antidote out of California for the poison that was used for her.
Investigators say Van Dyne tried to poison a second victim soon after, breaking into her car twice outside of a Costco. The woman told police her mouth felt funny after sipping from her water bottle. Police say they started tracking the pair, a Princeton-educated engineer and a pharmacy student, arresting Van Dyne Sunday near the home of one of the women after he placed a trail camera pointed at her house to surveil her. Van Dyne and Whitaker now facing charges including attempted first-degree intentional homicide and stalking. A judge today setting Van Dyne's bond at $10 million. Today, his alleged victim says she's terrified and no longer feels safe in her own home.
The truth is, I barely knew him. And yet, he and his accomplice decided that I should die.
Shaquille Brewster, NBC News.
And we are back in a moment with a huge shakeup in court after a judge ordered the Trump administration to release a pro-Palestinian activist that's a college student. That's next. Welcome back. A federal judge today ordering the Trump administration to release Mahmoud Khalil from custody. He's the pro-Palestinian activist and Columbia University grad student at the center of the Trump administration's crackdown on immigrants opposed to the war in Gaza. He's been held since early March. Also, the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial is getting closer to the end. The defense indicating in court today they might be able to get through their entire case in just a couple of days. Closing arguments could happen as soon as Thursday. And check out this massive volcano eruption in Hawaii. You can see Kilauea shooting hot lava more than 1,000 feet into the sky. The eruption began overnight. Kilauea is one of the most active volcanoes in the world, and it was the 26th eruption since late December. All right, that's nightly news for this Friday. Remember, tonight and always, we are here for you. I'm Tom Yamas. Have a great weekend. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.